So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, the topic tonight is pest protection or preventatives for pets. Are you guys hearing an echo? Donna, are you hearing an echo? Okay. I love these different topics because it makes me dive deeper. I intuitively know about some of these things, and I know that they are not helping our pets to live longer and healthier. But when I put together this information, it really makes me understand it better so that I can pass along the information to you guys. All right, let me see. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So we are going to talk about, first of all, welcome to everybody. I'm so happy to have you here. My name is Sherry Willingham, and I'll be telling you a little bit about my background and my passion, why I like to do these presentations. We'll talk about healthy pets and why they are unattractive hosts for these little critters. We'll talk about the different products that we have been using for our pets, the potential side effects, and also the risks of not using them. Heartworm, which is a different topic, but equally important because we give our pets pesticides for those, and then some options for natural products. So just a little bit about myself. I am a totally crazy dog mom. This is my boy Barney, who passed from lymphoma in 2018. And I love providing information to other pet parents who want as good a things as I want for my pets, and may not have had the opportunity to either experience the things that I've experienced or spent the time looking at the information that I look at. I have 2 children. I have 1 grandbaby, and I have currently 2 senior rescues, Jenny and Victor. I started out when I was young in information technology. I was a systems analyst designing computer systems, and I have become kind of self-taught as far as wellness, and that is using essential oils and teaching people how to use those. I have no medical background. I don't have any experience or training. I simply learn by my experience. When I come across a situation, I dive deep and then I try different things. So it's a lot of, for me, evidence-based research, because I try something, I see that it works, and I don't need somebody to do double-blind studies because I see the results. Real quick, so you know why I'm even here talking about this. About 10 years ago, I had MRSA, antibiotic-resistant staph infection. I had 2 years of antibiotics that didn't do anything except probably make me more sick. I went and found my own solution, and with some diet changes and essential oils that were not the store-bought kind, but the pharmaceutical grade is what they called them then. With those 2 things, I was able to get rid of the MRSA. I learned that a strong immune system is the most important thing for anyone's health. And the antibiotics I had been taking made my immune system weak. So the doctors were giving me something that was supposed to help my um, body, but in fact, they were giving me something that was creating a weak immune system so that I kept getting sick. So it kind of gave me a different perspective of taking charge of um, my health and my wellness, and not just following what I'm being told. And I question the labels, I question the side effects, I question why am I using this? And so that led to my pets. Same thing, strong immune system is the most important thing. And so these things that we're giving them, question is, how is it affecting the immune system? And then we go from there. I'm a member of a lot of groups in Facebook. I see countless heartbreaking stories every day of beautiful animals who are suffering the side effects of some of these medications. It makes me want to cry. And this really gives me even more reason to want to uh, share the information that I've learned, and hopefully you will take this information, do what you decide to do with it, and pass it along to other people, because this is about learning um, for yourself, for your friends, for your family, and for our four-legged friends. Okay, so when we talk about healthy pets, we want to take a step back and look at the animals in the wild and say, why do these animals, why are they not decimated by ticks and fleas and mosquitoes? Um, and it's because a healthy animal is not an attractive host for ticks and fleas and mosquitoes. So what is a healthy pet? A healthy pet has a strong immune system. That means limited processed food, and giving them an unprocessed, species appropriate diet. A strong immune system is having limited vaccinations. I did talk about that last month. We're not talking about anti-vax. We're talking about being aware of the current over-vaccination that's going on, and making sure that you're limiting the toxins that your animal is getting from their vaccinations. Limited toxins internally and externally. So a lot of the foods that are out there, not only is it processed and has preservatives and all of that, but also the GMOs that are in the ingredients in the food are causing all kinds of problems for our pets and for ourselves. The GMO plants are engineered so that the plant can continue to grow without the pests being able to eat them. So they are not healthy for us or our animals. So that's a reason to avoid GMO. But there's almost no way for us to know what the ingredients are in the food. But that's one of the things that's a problem. Another way to limit the toxins is the chemical pest control. Some of them are given internally, some of them externally. Either way, they are not good for our pets' immune systems. Household cleaning products have lots of toxins in them. I can do another talk on this, but the cleaning products that we have in our houses, they don't have to include all of the ingredients that are listed. And many times if you were to break down what's in those products, they can be found on the EPA's hazardous waste list. And these are products that we bring into our home and use to clean our house, to make the air smell good. And in fact, they are not helping our health. And that goes for our pets as well. The preventatives that we have been told that we should use for flea, tick, and heartworm are pesticides, insecticides, and poisons. And that's what we are being told to put on our animals. It's not good. It's scary. It's really scary. When you have a product that says that in order to apply it, that you, the person, should put gloves on, but then you're putting it on your animal. I did it. I didn't question it, but you know what? That's scary. So how do these products work? First, the animal either ingests and it goes into the gut, and then from there into the bloodstream, or on the skin, it absorbs and goes into the bloodstream. So the second phase, or the second area here, the chemicals enter the bloodstream and flow throughout the entire body. They become concentrated in the tissue internally and externally. So they're in the organs, they're in the brain, they're in, like I said, the skin. So when the flea or the tick or the mosquito bites the dog or cat, it gets the poison when it bites. And that poison kills the bug. So if you're worried about your animal having some sort of bug bite because they carry disease, they cause all kinds of problems, these products do not prevent the bugs from biting. They just kill them. So the other thing that you need to consider is that the poisons cause neurological damage to the bugs. That's why they die. They also cause neurological problems for the pet, because that's what that chemical does. It poisons, it paralyzes, it causes neurological issues. And that's why, for all the people that are having issues with seizures in their dogs, it's so important to look at ways to not give them these products. There is a long list of symptoms of pesticide poisoning, which is essentially what these products do. And I'll go through them because it's pretty scary. Excessive drooling, we know that something's wrong when our animal is drooling. Gagging, lack of appetite, agitation, muscle tremors, convulsions, difficulty breathing, increased heart rate, fever, depression, seizures, constricted pupils, excessive urination, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, lack of coordination, trouble walking, confusion, excessive drinking, pawing at the face and the eyes, lethargy or weakness, skin irritations or rashes, and watery eyes. And I can tell you that my own experience talking to my veterinarian when he wanted me to give my animals one of these products, and I told him that I was concerned about potential side effects, he said, I've been doing this for 25 years and I have never seen a problem. And I didn't tell him, but I wanted to tell him, you just haven't put those two things together, because you can't tell me that no animal has taken one of these products and not had any negative side effects. Um, and there have been enough side effects that in September of 2018, the Federal Drug Administration, the FDA, issued a warning about potential neurological side effects with certain flea and tick products. They didn't pull the products off the shelves. They told the companies that they needed to include in their drug insert as a side effect that this was a potential problem. So Simparica, NexGard, Brevecto, Credelio, and there are some others in the European countries. They're all a certain group of drugs, and each one of those chemicals in that drug get into the bloodstream, attack the neurological system of the pest that is biting them. It also can affect the pet's brain. The FDA called on the manufacturers to change the product labeling to highlight the potential for neurological events. That was in 2018. So far, the only company that has complied with putting that on their label is NexGard. The others say that they will be changing their labels soon and that they will make those changes. The FDA has instructed veterinarians to use their expertise and look at the dog's medical history in assessing whether prescribing one of these drugs is appropriate. Vets were told to consult with pet owners about the possible risks. Again, I talked to my vet. He said he had heard people talking about that, but he's never seen that happen. So you need to be your own animal's advocate, because for whatever reason, vets don't see that there is a problem with this. The other thing I hear people talk about when we discuss the topical or the chews is, oh, well, I use a Seresto collar, and my vet told me that a Seresto collar is safe. Seresto collars have a different set of pesticides, and these are chemicals that are sensitizers and irritants, and they have been linked to skin and respiratory problems, seizures, cancer, autoimmune disorders, neurological disorders, reproductive and birth defects, terminal liver and kidney disease. These are all problems that can be caused in people and pets. Europe is so far ahead of the US in a lot of things, and they are farther than we are in banning these types of chemicals. This pesticide is banned in Europe. They have found that it bothers bees and other insects that they don't want to have poisoned. The other thing about the Seresto collars is that it can cause all kinds of issues with not only the pet, but people who are around the pet. So if the dog or the cat sleeps on a blanket, the toxin gets on the blanket, and then you grab that blanket and snuggle up with it, you're contacting the neurotoxic um, chemicals, and you can have those issues as well. These two pictures depict on the left this poor puppy who had the collar on and caused a, look at the red angry rash there. And then on the right, this is a lady took a picture of her leg after her dog had the collar on, put his head on her lap, and she ended up, and she had pants on, so it went through the pants, and she had this this reaction. So for the people who are thinking that this resto collar is safe, I just encourage you to look into what really is the active ingredient in those collars. All right, so let's talk about fleas and what is the actual problem with your animal having fleas. We know that fleas, the little buggers, multiply really fast. If you get a couple of fleas, you can end up with a bushel full, you know, within a couple days, and then you have an infestation, and that is not good, not fun. There is flea allergy. A lot of dogs have an allergy to the saliva of the flea bite. So that's really awful to watch them suffer with that. Flea bite anemia, it can cause problems with the blood volumes, and especially in the elderly and sick animals, they don't manufacture blood cells as quickly, and so that is a problem. And then tapeworms. Your animal can get a tapeworm from ingesting fleas that have the tapeworm eggs. So with fleas, prevention is key. Not sure who is on here. Are there any questions before I go on to the next one? Hi, Susan, welcome. If you could mute your, okay, awesome, thank you. So if anybody has any questions about anything that I've gone over so far. All right, so now the next topic is ticks. And if you guys have any questions, just unmute and speak up. If you have any questions or if you have comments, because I'm not looking at the chat box. Okay, so the next topic is ticks. Oh, we don't like ticks. And then Lyme disease, which is one of the awful diseases that they carry. So I want you to look at this map. And this is a current map that shows where the infected ticks are as far as Lyme disease. And so it's in the Northeast, up here, I'm not sure what that's called. Donna, what's that called? The North Central?
Midwest.
Oh, okay, thanks. And then here, just a small area, yeah. Okay, small area in Northern California. So if you're anywhere else in the country, you don't really have to worry about Lyme disease. So that's one of the things that I really want to make sure that you look at is what is the probability of contracting or, having a problem with one of these things that you are instructed by your vet to protect your animal against monthly. Okay. I wanted to show you a chart of the different diseases that are possible from getting a tick bite. And there are a number of not pleasant diseases. So again, this depends on where you're located. On the right side here is the geographic distribution of where the ticks that have those diseases are located. Okay, so take a look at, I'll put the slides up for you guys to look at after this. But take a look at this chart and see, what kind of risk is there for your animal to come across a tick and come across a tick that has one of these diseases that we're trying to avoid. One of the ways that we can keep ticks away is with turmeric essential oil. There have been studies, but this is one study on PubMed.gov that shows that turmeric oil was effective in preventing tick attachment. So this is a good oil to use if you are in an area where you have ticks, and not all areas do. Okay.
Jerry, I have a quick question. It's Shelley.
Hi, Shelley.
With your, like the turmeric oil that you're recommending,
Mm-hmm.
what's the application? Do you dilute it and just spray it on their body?
I have this bottle, and I'll go over it more near the end, but because we have deer ticks here, I use turmeric in my blend. For people who live in areas that don't have any ticks or, risk, they wouldn't need to put the turmeric in their spray blend.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Okay, so the next one is heartworm prevention and treatment. This is one that I don't talk a lot about, and I really haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, although I live in Florida, and there is a high mosquito population. Okay, so I was glad to look into this one, and it's interesting, and I hope that you find it beneficial information. So there's only 13 states in the US that carry a high risk of heartworm infestation. Also, less than 1.5% of the dogs in the US test positive for heartworm. And heartworm infestation is more difficult to acquire than we are led to believe. I don't know about you, but I go into the vet's office and they have a picture of this heart that has these things in it, and it looks awful. And so, yeah, give me the medicine because I don't want my dog to have to deal with that. But I don't do that anymore. These preventative drugs are not harmless. They're chemical pesticides, and they also are becoming resistant. So you need to first determine if you live in an area where heartworm is a problem. And if you do, you want to work with a holistic or integrative vet to determine a plausible and healthier protocol. The other thing that is really important is you always want to do a blood test to see if there is a heartworm positive before using any of the products. So for my pups, I go in, I have them draw blood, comes back negative, and so then I leave. If you have to do the heartworm preventative, you want to make sure that you get the test first to make sure that they are negative before you give them any of the preventatives. The heartworm preventatives that you get from the vet don't actually prevent the worms. And so we'll go through that process to see how that works. I found this really interesting, and I'd heard it before. There's a lot of criteria for a mosquito to be able to give your animal the little critter that would develop into heartworm. So first of all, the mosquito has to be female, and it has to be a species of mosquito that allows the development of worms in the cells of the body, and not all female mosquitoes do. They also have to be a species that feeds on mammals. Not all mosquitoes feed on animals. They must have bitten an animal that was infected with stage 1 heartworms about 2 weeks prior to biting your animal. That's because there's approximately 14 days that are necessary for the larva to develop into the stage 3 heartworm. And then this very specific mosquito must bite your dog. So there's a lot of things that have to happen for the mosquito to be one that will transmit heartworm. There's 2 other really important things that have to happen for this mosquito to give your animal heartworm. It has to be the right temperature. So during the time that the heartworm is developing inside the infected mosquito, it has to be a 2-week period where the temperature doesn't drop below 57 degrees. So if you live in an area where at night it gets cold, and here in Florida it's been getting cool at night, it's been going under 57 degrees, then even if all of those criteria had been met, the temperature drops, and now that larva has died, and they're not going to be transmitting heartworm to my animal. The other thing is that where you live, there has to be humidity and standing water. And so the mosquitoes are not present in areas that don't have that. All right, so the heartworm life cycle, we just talked about that a little bit. So the larva from 1 to 3, stage 1 to stage 3 is about 2 weeks. Oh, I just had a little bug on my hand. I think I'm gonna spray some stuff on myself. Okay, so 14 days, and then it takes 3 to 4 days to go for it to grow to the 4th stage of the larva. And again, the bite has to happen here at the L3. 3 to 4 days, it grows to L4. So it's got about 2 to 3 months before the heartworm develops, it grows, and goes into the heart. And then 3 to 4 months, it produces offspring. So it's about 6 months before it's a total infestation that is that picture that we don't want to have happen. All right, so what do? First thing we do when we're thinking about heartworm is we look to see where we are in the United States. And this is 2020. This is the current forecasted prevalence of heartworm for right now. So for me, I'm down here, I'm in the yellow. So there's a 1 to 1.5% chance. So it's not a super high chance, right? So you look to see what your dog's risk is based on the map. And then you can look into using natural preventatives, essential oils, heartworm, no-sodes, and keeping your pet healthy. And then you want to do the heartworm testing every 3 to 4 months to make sure that there is no heartworm being detected. The other thing is, remember, even if you are giving heartworm products or using the natural products, there's no guarantee that your pet will not get it. So you need to be testing for the heartworms either way. You don't want to be taking care of them, you think, and then find out that they have had, an infestation of heartworm. Is there any questions about the heartworm? Okay. I just wanted to throw this in here because I see it all the time and it makes me a little crazy. People say use Dawn dish soap on kittens, puppies, dogs. And on the right here is a letter from, you'll see down here, Senior Customer Relations of P&G Global Operations, saying, do not use Dawn dish soap on your animals. It is not meant to be put on animals. People say, but they use it in the oil slicks for the birds and the animals that get covered in spilled oil. That's different. These animals are going to die if that oil is not gotten off of their bodies. And so it's a life-saving effort. The alternative to Dawn dish soap would be something much more caustic. So for that situation, it's good. For putting on an animal for fleas, that is not a life-saving thing, is not good. And if you think about this blue chemical-filled soap to put on a little animal, it goes into their skin, you don't want to do that. If you want to use some sort of soap, use Castile soap. It's unscented, it's very mild, and it will do the same thing. So what should I use for my healthy pet to keep the pests away? First thing is you want to look at how can you make sure that they have a strong immune system. That starts with diet. It starts with gut health and reducing environmental toxins in places that you can control, which is your home, your laundry, air fresheners, personal products that have, a lot of fragrance. All of those things are disruptors to their health. And so those are things to think about. For me, I use essential oils. I have essential oils. I use them for everything else. So when I make up my spray, which is for me, I use the 10-ounce mist bottle. Um, it ends up being pennies per drop. And I remember when I was buying those the chews, and then also the little oil that you put on the backs of the animals. Those things are expensive, like 150, $200 for a 6-month supply. Um, and where I was living in California in Huntington Beach, we didn't have fleas and ticks. But I didn't know that I should be questioning, why should I be giving this? So I just want you to think about, what am I giving them? Why am I giving it? Is there an alternative that maybe won't be so um, potentially harmful? And if I am giving it, is there a way to give it that is less damaging or safer? For instance, with the heartworm in those places where it's crazy high risk, there's a way to give it to your animal that will help keep, it will help kill the larva in their blood on that regular basis. Um, and it's giving, instead of every 4 weeks, giving it every 6 weeks. Instead of giving a high dose, you want to give a dose that is based on the lower weight. So just think about, how can I make this effective but less toxic, right? So I just wanted to go through some of the different oils that I like to use, and some of them are good based on where you live. We'll talk about that. So TerraShield is the outdoor blend. It's created to spray on yourself or your animals um, for all pests. If you're going camping, this is the blend that we recommend. Cedar wood is another one that is recommended for helping with fleas. So if you live in an area where there are a lot of fleas, cedar wood would be a good one for you to add to your spray. We don't have a lot of fleas around here, or my dogs are older and they don't go out a lot, so it's not a problem. Interestingly, cedarwood is also good for bed bugs. All right, lemongrass. I don't think is any bug that likes lemongrass. This is just a good all-around addition to your spray. And it also is really good for sore muscles. So for yourself or your pet, lemongrass is a great one to have in your home. Peppermint, another good one. This one is not good for cats, but for dogs, it's good as a insect repellent. It also is good for spiders. So if you have problems with spiders in your home or in your yard, peppermint is good. It's also good for ants. It's kind of a good all-around insect repellent that you can use in your home as well as in the flea and tick spray. We talked about turmeric. It's really good for areas in the country that have ticks. So if you're in an area that has high infestation of ticks, probability of your dog picking up a tick, you want to use turmeric. Lavender is another really good insect repellent. Bugs don't like the smell of lavender. And of course, this is one that is great for everything. I got a little bit too much sun today, so it's on my skin to help with the sunburn, and it's also calming. Citronella is one of the most powerful insect repellents. This one is great to put in your spray, and it's also a calming oil as well. And then lemon eucalyptus. This is a new one, and if you have a big mosquito population, like I do here in Florida, lemon eucalyptus is one that you want to use. It's more effective than DEET. It's 97% effective in repelling mosquitoes for up to 4 hours. So for me, I'm putting a lot of lemon eucalyptus in my spray bottle. I just wanted to show you a couple of kits that we have put together that would address the bug repellent. But again, depending on where you live, your needs are going to be based on what animals you have and what type of bugs you have. All right, so I love talking about how we can keep our pets healthier. And I want you to do your own research. Our vets are there to help us when our animals are sick, and we need to be their advocates to help them live longer and be well longer. And that's not something that our vets are trained in. So we have to kind of figure that out ourselves. Search out groups that have experience and experience-based research. And there's a lot of groups out there because there's a lot of pet parents out there that are realizing that our animals are sicker and they're dying younger than they used to. And we need to figure out why. Holistic practitioner, they're all over. There are groups that have holistic practitioners or lists of them. So you can reach out to one in your area, or, you know, a lot of them are doing online consultations, especially now that things are shut down. Go with your gut. Let's see. Okay. You know, we have intuition. We know our animals better than anyone else. So if something doesn't sound right to you, question it. And then enjoy every day with your furry loved ones. They make our lives so much better.